All right, what up, Tycoon? Super excited for today's video. I'm going to be breaking down Quant, okay, ticker symbol QNT. This one was a viewer request. I do those viewer requests every single week. So make sure if you have any cryptocurrencies, any stocks, any strategies you would like me to cover, make a video on for you. I'll be happy to do that for you as soon as I can. All you got to do is leave a comment below. We're going to jump straight into the video now. And in today's video, we are going to cover a little bit of divergence, okay, between the RSI and the price action of the token. And we're also going to identify a couple patterns that are easy to spot that you yourself as a beginner, or maybe you have some very good experience, can start trading and charting up yourself. Okay. The very first one we're going to cover, all right, is going to be a divergence. Okay. So a divergence occurs when you're seeing something different happen in the price action according to the RSI. The RSI is the relative strength index, and it's going to show you the relative strength of a token based on its current price levels. Okay, so what we're seeing here is we have a low and we have a lower low. Okay, so we're clearly in a downtrend right here, making what's known as lower lows. Okay, the RSI has a low here and a higher low here at these same exact points on the chart. This is what's known as a bullish divergence when you're making lower lows on the price action, but higher lows on the chart. And if we look here at this point, okay, from there to there, that was a 68% move. Okay, it ended up running about 129%. Let's just call it 130%, off of that bullish divergence. Okay. So we'll move on from that and we'll go and cover a what's known as a slight bearish divergence. Okay. So if we look here, all right, we can see that we have a high and a high. Okay. It's also known as a double top. Okay. Right here, where you're, topping out at the same price level. A double top is a bearish pattern. All right. So what we're getting here is a bearish pattern on the price action combined with some bearish divergence on the RSI. Okay, we have a high there and a lower high there. That's an indicator that we may see some bearish activity in the future. Okay, and we go here and we look and we see it dropped over 50%. Okay, so that's a good signal for you to protect your trade. Okay, what's known as protect the trade. And you can do that multiple ways, either by just closing the position. You can add a hedge. Okay, maybe grab a short position to protect against your long position, or you can just simply set a stop loss at a price level that you're comfortable selling with and re-entering later in the future. And we look here again, and we got a very clear bearish divergence again here in the future where we had a high, okay, and a higher high. We have a high here and a lower high here. All right, so that's what divergence is, okay? When you're seeing something different happen between the price action and the relative strength index, it's a very good indicator that many traders, such as myself, use, as well as institutions and algorithms, okay? Now, let's go ahead and dive into some chart patterns, okay? We have a very simple chart pattern here known as a bull flag. Okay. And the bull flag is one of the easiest to spot. And it's, indicated by your flagpole here, right? And then you have the actual flag itself right here. And what you do is you would duplicate this drawing, okay, and put this at the top of your breakout. Okay. So once we break this breakout level right here, then this is going to give you some price targets to look for in the future. And sure enough, Quant went ahead and hit the bull flag price targets and continued much, much higher. Now, if you notice, what we did was create a little bit of bearish divergence. All right. And again, this is a slight bearish divergence because, we're basically topping out at the same level. We have a high here, a high here. Okay. We just previously went over the double top pattern, how it's, a bearish indicator. All right. So we have a double top on the RSI, but the price action is clearly making higher highs, right? So that was a nice bearish indicator. All right, and we'll go ahead and take a look, and from those highs, let's just call these the lows right here. That was a 40% drop. All right, these are big moves, all right, that I'm showing you guys. They may not seem like it, but if you're up on your play, and let's say you put $10,000 in, or you're up $10,000, you have $10,000 now in the position after your gains. Do you want to see that wiped away to $6,000? within 14 days, within 2 weeks. No, nobody really wants to see that happen. So this is why I'm making this video, is to show you guys that, there are plenty of ways to tell of some possible bearishness or some possible bullishness. So that way you could protect your trade or look for entry on a trade based off of some of these indicators. All right. We'll zoom in, or we'll move forward in the future, okay, and look at the chart. And this pattern here is known as an ascending wedge or a rising wedge. And what you're going to see is a bounce in between these trend lines until you get a break of this trend line. Once we break this trend line, as we did here on this candle, you can expect a sharp move to the downside. All right. And we'll go ahead and measure this move right here. And from the highs to the lows right here, this was another 40% drop. All right. Where if you had $10,000 in it, or $100,000, or even $1,000, you're not really going to want to see it drop 40% and not know why, right? These are good indicators to help you protect yourself. Okay. So that's a rising wedge. It's a bearish pattern. The opposite of that would be a descending wedge or a falling wedge. And this is a bullish pattern. And sure enough, we did get that shortly afterwards, right? And we're going to see the price action zigzag in between here until we get a nice breakout to the upside. And sure enough, we did get that breakout to the upside. These right here are what's known as the Fibonacci's. Okay, the Fibonacci formula is a formula that exists all throughout nature. It's very prevalent in the stock market and in cryptocurrencies. Believe it or not, most of the trading these days done by institutions and big money, aka smart money as they call it, most of it is pretty much algorithmic, right? They set the algorithms to either buy or sell based on certain news or based on certain price levels, and the rest is history from there. Okay. So this is really important because it's going to give you valid price levels for you to be able to see where a potential top is, where some resistance is, and where some support is. All right. A great example of that is going to be right here. Okay. Look at the 786 retracement on the fibs. Look at where we topped out on this rally right here. We topped out right at the 133.634 level that the fibs gave us. Okay. And what I do is I take my swing high to my swing low. All right. Now it looks like I forgot to go over this right here. So we'll go ahead and cover that real quick. Sometimes you're very lucky, and what you're going to get is a pattern and a divergence, both giving you an indicator, right? So we went over how this is a bullish pattern, right? This descending wedge, this falling wedge. And then we also had a bullish indicator right here, where we have a low and a lower low, but we're making a low and a higher low. So not only do we have a bullish pattern in this descending wedge, we also have bullish divergence on the RSI. These are two indicators now that we have that there's some possible bullish activity in the future. All right. We'll go ahead and zoom in, move on past that, and we'll go ahead and look and see clearly we had another rising wedge or ascending wedge, right? We're zigzagging through this area until we come down, break this trend line here, and we get a sharp move to the downside. All right. And again, let's go ahead and measure this move real quick. And boom, what do you know? A 34% drop. So nearly another 40% drop, okay, that you could have been aware of, could have had a little bit of indication of. Now, we just went over how you get a bullish pattern with bullish divergence. What do you know? We have a bearish pattern mixed with bearish divergence, okay, where we have a high here and a higher high here. We have a high here and a lower high here. So you need to be cautious and you need to be prepared for these signals. Okay, these are great signals. They're not 100% guaranteed. If they were, everybody would be billionaires because it would work 100% of the time and everybody would know what to do. But with that being said, it really is a very good indicator that I like to watch. Okay, the next pattern that we're looking at is going to be this one right here. This is what's known as an ascending triangle. Okay, so notice how we're basically have this strong resistance level, this line right here, right, that we've been holding. Okay, so we draw that line out. This is our resistance line, and we have this nice upwards trend line. Okay, this is what's known as an ascending triangle. And typically it's a continuation pattern. Okay, so it's very important for you to look at the history and see where we are previously. Well, we can see that previously we were much lower and heading upwards. So being that this is a continuation pattern, we're going to look to see if we can get a breakout above this level and continue that upwards momentum. Okay. So the way it would work is you would look for a move to the upside, a retest, and then continue up higher. All right. Now, the only thing that I'm pretty cautious about is that in the middle of forming this, we actually did form that bearish pattern known as a rising wedge. Okay. And we can see that we're zigzagging in between this pattern, and we have not broken this trend line. So everything is still a green, right? There's no sell signal yet. All right. Not only have we not broken this trend line, we are holding above this, level, this former resistance. We're going to see if we can flip old resistance into new support. Okay. So we may pull back towards this level right here. And this is going to be very, very critical level, right? This is going to be your make or break level if we do come back down and test this level. Are we going to get the bounce off of here and flip old resistance to support and continue higher? Or are we going to get the breakdown of this ascending wedge and head lower to come back down and test this trend line here? All right. Those are the two main patterns that I'm really watching right now. The one thing that has me very, very cautious, again, is bearish divergence. Okay. I want to note how we have a high here and we have a higher high here. Okay. So we're clearly in an uptrend, and look at our RSI. We have a high and a lower high. So this indicates that we may see some bearish activity in the future, and we have a bearish pattern right here. Okay. So it's not all doom and gloom just because we have bearish divergence and a bearish, rising wedge forming. Okay. These patterns haven't played out as all of the patterns have in history. Patterns don't have to repeat themselves. They have a tendency to repeat themselves. But it's up to us as traders to identify the key areas and the make or break levels, as I've just done. Okay. So we really need to watch if we are going to get, a nice bounce of support here and continue higher, all right, to negate out this rising wedge pattern, or is this pattern going to play out, and are we going to break out this major level right here and head back downwards? Okay, so that's pretty much it for today's video. I really appreciate you guys watching it, and if you'd like to see an update or kind of like a macro trend, right? If you're more interested in the macro trend of Quant, I've gotten one request for that. If I get a couple more, I'll go ahead and upload that video sometime within the next week or two. So make sure to comment below, and don't forget about those viewer requests. Okay, if you have a different cryptocurrency or perhaps a stock or maybe a strategy you would like me to explain, make sure to let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, I'm out.